But you have to understand that white racism is not about white folks spewing hatred from the back of a pickup truck. It's not about calling you the N-word as you drive on by. It's not about saying, I hate black folk. White racism is about making sure, non-emotional, making sure the power to determine who gets and who does not remains forever in the hands of people who look like me. I'm saying that a white racist can actually like black people. A white racist can like black people because being a racist has nothing to do with his personal effective opinion about any of you. Being a racist is about making sure my people are in charge. I can like you. I can like your music. I can like your women. I can hang out with you. But at the end of the day, when a vote is taken for whether or not we're going to share power with black folk, the answer is always no.
It seems we have talked enough, and it's time for action. And any action that we need to take, it has to start from within. We have to start changing our mindset. We have to start changing the way we do things. And how are we going to go about it? Is liberate ourselves, enlighten ourselves, and educate ourselves. And without this, it's going to be difficult for people of black origin to progress. I've come across another video from Dr. Umar Ifatunde, which I think it will interest you. I want us to watch this particular video. I will be back.
We got to put the ego down. One of the biggest problems in the black community is the black man's ego. We got to be honest, brothers. Because we're not allowed to be men in society. Because we are not allowed to be men in society. We suffer from what I call a castrated ego. And because the black male's ego is castrated, whenever we get an opportunity to realize leadership, to realize power, and to realize authority, we take it to our heads. This is why we have so much conflict in the conscious community. This is why we have so much conflict in the black church. This is why we have so much conflict in our community-based organizations, because when a black man gets any taste of power, he doesn't know how to be judicious with that power. He becomes a tyrant and a dictator because it feels so good to be in charge for a change that you don't want to give it up or share it with other people. And because of that, a lot of our sisters end up doing what? Leaving the black organizations, leaving the church, because they're tired of being in a movement where it constitutes nothing more than two black men basically challenging each other, trying to undermine each other. And of course, black women have an issue because a lot of them are not being allowed to use their leadership skills in our black organizations. It seems like whenever it comes to the black woman, there's only three things she's good for in the revolutionary movement. Okay? Cooking, keeping minutes, and baking cookies. And you know what kind of cookies I'm talking about. So we got to change that. We got to change that. And I want black women to understand that you have a right, sister, to express your disagreement with us brothers. You have a right to talk about the sexism in the black community. You have a right to be heard. Very important that we say that. You have a right to be heard. But let me say this, black woman. Please, 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 don't think for one moment that your issues that you face in the black community with us brothers in any way, shape, or form draws a parallel to the issues that white women face in their fight with white men. And I want to be clear about this, because a lot of black women are joining this reactionary white female created feminist movement. It's coming back in full force, where the black woman is being led to believe that the black man is the cause of her problems. This is the new movement. Blame the black male for everything wrong with the black female. I didn't say we don't have some responsibility. And I didn't say that you can't bring up those issues. But please don't let the white woman use you against us as an additional crutch or sword in the side of black folk. This is very important. This is very important. When the white woman stood up against the white man in the early 1900s, and even going back to the anti-slavery movement, when the women's lib movement in America received its beginning and its impetus. Going back to that, I understood why the white woman had an issue with the white man. The white man didn't let the white woman go to work. He didn't let her go to college. He didn't let her wear pants. He said that you can only wear long skirt. He told her she couldn't go to church if she was on her monthly. He basically dictated her whole life. Said her place was in the kitchen and her place was with the children. I understood the white woman's fight. The white man controlled her. But black woman, let me ask you a question. By a show of hands to my brothers in the audience, how many of you have ever stopped your woman from getting the job? Raise your hand. Not a single black man has ever stopped a black woman from having a job. Brothers, by a show of hands, how many of you kept your woman from going to college and advancing her education? By a show of hands. Brother, by a show of hands, who amongst you have ever told your woman she cannot wear pants, that she can only wear a skirt? As much as we like to see a black woman in some jeans, Lord have mercy. And most important, black woman, and this is for the sisters, which of you has ever had a man who could control what you wore outside the house? Even if he doesn't agree with what you wear, he can't control what you do. We don't control when you work or if you work. We don't control how you dress and what you wear. The black man has never had that type of authority over the black female. So your parallel to the white woman's structure is just an illusion of your mindset. It does not exist in reality. Let us be clear. The black man and the black woman are in this struggle together. We fight together or we don't fight at all. It's about the black woman. It's about woman. It's about woman or the other. We do it together or we don't do it at all. Because being on social network, I've seen that some brothers have started a man's movement. They got a black movement for the brothers against the sisters. We tired of being beat down by women. We gonna fight back. We had sisters live, now we got brothers live. You see? And so now they want to blame the black woman for everything. Well, she got all the jobs. She got all the education. She get the child support. She control the custody situation. The black woman is in charge of us. The black woman is running the black man. But you don't see the ventriloquist master behind the scenes pulling the strings of both the black man and the black woman. It's a war against the family. The whole plan is to kill the black family as a unit. And why is that? Because if I can kill the family, I don't have to worry about killing the man because no war will be born. If I can kill the family, I don't have to worry about killing the woman because no war will be born. No war will be born. If I can kill the black family, I don't have to worry about special educating the boy, putting them on medicine, locking them up in juvenile court because no more will be born. And so the American media has to come together to do what? Kill the popular image of the black family. Scandal is a part of that. Companies of Hollywood is a part of it. The Tyler Perry movies are part of it. Now when The Color Purple came out, remember when The Color Purple came out? We was little children. I'm 40 years old. Color Purple came out, I guess we was around 12 or something like that. And a lot of us said we have never seen nothing like that in our life. Such a negative caricature presentation of black males. Waiting to exhale. Another beat down on black males. And then Tyler Perry came out with a beat down on black women with his Why Did I Get Married 1 and 2 with every black woman in the movie being dysfunctional. Right? And then it came out with Scandal, a thirsty black woman who no black man is good enough for her, but she doesn't mind being a bedwitch to the president of the United States. Which was the most popular show for black women in America? Conscious sisters and unconscious sisters. And that's quite interesting now. Because there's a little bit of you in everything you like. So if you like watching a show where a black woman plays the sex toy of the white president, then somewhere in your psyche is a wish to entertain the same. Somewhere we said, my God, it can't get worse than that. And then they came out with how to get away with murder. And then after that we said, my God. What I want to do before I continue, we got some sisters standing right here. They happen to be beautiful, but that shouldn't matter. We got some sisters standing, so I need some brothers to help them out. If we have any room in the balcony, raise your hand if you got a seat next to you in the balcony. Any room in the balcony whatsoever. There's 3 seats up in the balcony. If you guys want to go up to the balcony, let's give the queens a seat, the princesses a seat, the grandma, give grandma a seat. Because she'd do a little juju and have us all in bad mood. Okay? And guess what, family? Because we all family, I don't mind. For my ladies, I don't mind if you want to come and grab a seat right up here. I'm going to stay where I'm at. So if you want to come sit up here with Dr. Johnson, come on up. Just don't get fresh with him because they're all hot. So I'm going to come over here, give the ladies some room to sit. All right. My sister's okay over there. Raise your hand if you see a black woman. Raise your hand if you see a black woman. All right, brother. Here y'all go. Some of them are ain't married, but be careful. I see rings on the finger talking about they sleep. Okay, that's how you catch a case. But as I was beginning to say, black family, all these movies that we're watching, these TV shows that we're watching, they're not just for entertainment purposes. I need you to understand that most white people in America do not have the benefit of living with black folk. They don't know who you are or how you are. The ideas they have of African people comes from popular media. When I was in high school, I had a white roommate. I went to a residential military school. Some of y'all know this, in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. I had a roommate who was white. And he used to tell me about all the rumors and the jokes and the stereotypes of black folk that he heard growing up. And he told me, he was a freshman or sophomore, I think I was a junior at the time or a senior, and he told me that I was the first black person he ever really got to know. And that most of his ideas about us come from the TV shows. It came from the music. It came from the hip-hop industry. I'm saying this because while you laugh at Husbands of Hollywood, while you laugh at the Tyler Perry movies, as we enjoy ourselves with Scandal, I need you to keep in mind that white folks are setting political policy off of these films that we take it to be entertaining. And we laugh because we know that's not all black folks. I know why you laugh. You can laugh at it because you know that's not our reality. But for white folks, they deem it to be such. And they make laws based on that. The fact that police are killing black men by the dozens every day is a direct reflection of how America has bought into the popular image of the black male as portrayed in the media. And the sad thing about it, we're the only group in world history ever targeted by extermination who actually participated in the destruction of their own image. When the Nazis when Hitler put out the campaign to assassinate the Jews, you couldn't find one who participated in that. When the Anglo-Saxons started their campaign to assassinate the Native Americans, you could hardly find one to participate in that. When the Germans went into Southeast Africa and massacred our Namibian Herero brothers and sisters, you could hardly find one to participate in that. When the British went to Tasmania and exterminated every living African Tasmanian to the fact that today we have no Tasmanians in the world because they blotted out every one. Not one of them participated in that. But here we are as black folk through our music, through our books, through the ghetto smut trash novels that y'all love to read on the buses going to work. We have participated in the extermination of our own image. Do you not see what they're doing? If we can kill the image, if we can make people believe that black folk are useless to the world, nobody will speak up when the carnage begins. It started with that Young Jeezy album. It started with the Lil Wayne album. And then we got young black children who think that these white hip-hoppers are somehow white liberal. They think that because his pants are sagging and he's in a $60,000 truck and he got rims on it and he listens to the same music that our children listen to, a lot of our children think these white teenagers are okay. Well, let me explain something to you about white teens. In white culture, they have something called adolescence. Adolescence doesn't exist in African culture. We have rites of passage. So in European culture, between the age of 12 and 17, white kids go crazy. Justifiably so. They smoke crack, they get drunk, they go crazy on cigarettes, marijuana, they have sex with boys, they have sex with girls, they do all kind of stuff. And it's called normal. Because in white culture, a child must find themselves through participating in degenerate behavior, adolescence. In African culture, that period of transition from childhood to adulthood is escorted by elders in the community. There is no period where you just buck out and wild out. We don't have that in our culture. And what our children need to understand is when the white boy becomes a hip-hopper, it's only a temporary period. It's only a temporary period of rebellion in his transition from childhood to adulthood. That same white boy dating a black girl, the same white boy smoking weed on the south side of Chicago, that same white boy listening to Lil Wayne and Young Jeezy, I want you to see him at 30 years old. The same one who had rims spinning on his truck is locking up black boys by the thousands as an assistant DA downtown. The same one who said I'm blacker than the blackest black person, at 30 years old, he's a police officer putting bullets in our sons' bodies. Don't you dare confuse a moment in time with someone's true agenda for their lifetime. And black folk, we got a bad habit of spending too much time trying to exonerate white folks for what they've done. Listen, I don't believe we should teach hate, and I don't. And I don't believe that you cannot see the individuality amongst any people of a particular culture. But you have to understand that white racism is not about white folks spewing hatred from the back of a pickup truck. It's not about calling you the N-word as you drive on by. It's not about saying, I hate black folk. White racism is about making sure, non-emotional, making sure the power to determine who gets and who does not remains forever in the hands of people who look like me. I'm saying that a white racist can actually like black people. A white racist can like black people because being a racist has nothing to do with his personal effective opinion about any of you. Being a racist is about making sure my people are in charge. I can like you. I can like your music. I can like your women. I can hang out with you. But at the end of the day, when a vote is taken for whether or not we're going to share power with black folk, the answer is always no. And then they came out with Empire. Look at what they did. White racism. They said we don't have enough shows on TV that depict the black family. All of the shows are about thirsty single black women and money hungry, sex crazed, music and athletically inclined black dads. They said, black folks saying we ain't showing no black families. What happened to the Cosby? Well, they turned in Cosby and went and got Crosby or something there about it. And so with Empire, they took the Cosby family and inverted it. So they gave you the black family you said you've been missing on network TV. But they gave it to you in a way that puts out a negative image of a black family. It would have been better if they never gave us one. So look at what you got. You got a black woman who goes to jail, helps her husband start a music business off of her drug money. She comes out and she's totally motivated to manipulate, undermine, sabotage the husband's business. And then the husband don't care about nobody but being in control. Kill his best friend, uses women only to the extent that they can help his empire. And then these two women got 3 sons. These two Africans, man and woman, have 3 sons. One son got bipolar. Now, being a psychotherapist, I ain't never seen no bipolar like the kind they showed on Empire. You ever see him when he get a bipolar episode, he start breakdancing and everything? There ain't no damn bipolar. Who made that up? Okay? And then he's married to this white female with no shape. And then you got Hakeem. Hyper masculinity. And then you got his brother. What's his name? The other one. Jamal. Hyper femininity. You see the 2 poles now? The 2 brothers. One is hyper masculine, one is hyper feminine. Neither one of them represent the standard operating personality of a normal black man. But black parents, you have to be careful and clear not to let your children watch any of this film. Because the messaging scandal, the messaging empire, the messaging basketball wives to the young black girl, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, why would you even waste your time with one of them Negro men? That's the message. And the message to the black male, look at these gold-digging black women. Look at the ones on Basketball Wives. Look at the ones on Why Did I Get Married? Look at Cookie. Why would you ever want to be with a black woman? So what they're doing is killing the image of the black family, not just to white folk, but to black children. They're convincing black girls to only be interested in relationships with non-African men. And if you can't find a good non-African man, then find an African female. And the message is to the black man, why be bothered with a gold-digging black woman? Find you a white woman or an Arab or East Indian or Native American. And if you want to be slick about it, just get you a Catholic Asian, because that way nobody can tell they're not black. Y'all know the Catholic Asian. The brother comes in with the Catholic Asian. You like, is she black? And you can't quite tell. And he did that on purpose. He went and found somebody that you can't even tell what side they on. Okay? So they're trying to kill the image of black folks. So how do we reverse that? Empire, breaking records all over the place. How do you fight back against that propaganda? Well, number one, there's no law in America that makes you and your children watch the television. So that's the first thing we need to keep in mind. There's no law that makes you listen to the radio. That's the first thing we got to keep in mind. But I'll tell you what we really got to do. We got to make black love look fashionable all over the place. That means the black man has to show in public, in front of young black boys, how honored he is to be. In art, when you look at the kings, the obas, and the rulers, you will always notice that in much of the artwork, whenever there's a strong man, a masculine man with swagger in the artwork, there's normally a picture of a female somewhere. For those of you who study Kemetic science, you notice with most of the pharaohs of Kemet, you notice that there's always a woman standing over his shoulder. If you look at the artwork within Nigeria, throughout Nigeria, you'll notice that whenever there's a picture of a king or even an Orisha like Shango or Ogun or Obatala, you'll notice that there's normally two women somewhere in the picture. Why are there always pictures of females whenever there's images of masculine black men? It's to underscore the fact that the masculinity of the black male rests on the foundation of the black woman's solution. In fact, in the system of Ifa practiced by the Yoruba, okay, in Ifa, within the cosmology, it talks about the Iyami, which are the great divine mothers. These are feminine women, male energies, whose motives of communication are birds. That's why you go to certain places in Africa, people don't like the birds around because they're the messages of the Iyami, the elder feminine energies that help regulate the universe. And there's even stories in African cosmology that says the Iyami were once in control of the universe. Like God put these females in place to rule the world. And the point is that a black man can never ascend to perfection without that feminine principle behind of him. But that also means, black woman, that when you proclaim your divinity and your goddess-ship, it's important that you not be contradictory. And what I mean by that is, superficially speaking, we see the sisters, looking African-centered and smelling good with the frankincense and the shea butter. But then right after you leave the conscious event, you get in your automobile and you turn on Little Wayne. And you jamming in your car with your Kuta Kinte earrings, listening to Young Jeezy. So there's a contradiction on the one hand saying, I'm a queen, don't disrespect me, don't objectify me for my physical attributes, see me as God in the feminine divine incarnate. That's one thing, but what about the fact when you support and condone and underscore the very messages that you claim to be against when you listen to the music and run to the concerts? You got to kill the black woman, a black man needs your help. One thing we need black women to do for us is we need you to start speaking out about what's going on against black men. When white folks put the microphone in your mouth and say, aren't black men trifling? Why can't they stay out of jail? Why they don't have jobs? I need you to clarify to them. The reason my man don't have a job is because you won't give him one. The reason my man is in jail is because he's miseducated. The black man can be just as honorable as the white male, but he needs an opportunity that this society keeps from him. Black woman, you have to be on our side and let the world know that you are with us in our struggle. Don't let them use you against us. Don't let them use you against us, because the white male is trying to get the black woman to co-sign his extermination campaign against the black male. He wants you to stand next to him and say, yes, white man, ain't none of them no good. Get them on up out of here. Sister, don't co-sign it. And black man, if we need them to speak up for us, then we had better speak up for our sisters too. I'm getting tired of women that calls black men who tell me I only respect women who respect themselves. I got a problem with that. Yes. I got a problem with a black man telling me I'm only going to respect a woman who respects herself. Do you know how a little girl comes to value who she is? It's because the father validated her womanhood. So if you want to raise a sister from a place of disrespect to a place of self-respect, validate her divinity, no matter what type of behavior she operates in. It's true that only a man can take care of a woman, but only a real man can raise a woman from a position of self-abnegation and put her in a position of self-respect. So we got to take every black woman, black man, and remix her into self-respect. We got to lift her up Go to her and say, sister, I'm not going to judge you, but I know you got more to offer than what you're giving out right now. We got to make black love fashionable. My married couples, y'all got to start talking to unmarried couples and ask them, what you waiting on? Put a little pressure on you. Marriage ain't easy. Yes, it comes with its ups and its downs, but so does it do for every other people. But we got to make it fashionable. But if the black married couples don't want to talk about how happy they are to be married, if they want to talk about the fact that they in love, then how do you get couples who are not married to finally get on over that broom? Even if you're not happily married, act like it. The Eric Garner situation is somewhat behind us, and the Michael Brown situation is somewhat behind us, and the Trayvon situation is somewhat behind us, but it will always be with us. But the government and its wicked wisdom, brothers and sisters, they were so slick, because when the Michael Brown situation hit, that whole revolt, which I totally supported, and I supported the revolt, I supported the riot because I knew it was the only way for our brothers and sisters to get the attention of the world. Had they marched at night with candles, nobody would have listened to them. Right. If they would have had a prayer vigil, nobody would listen to them. It's because they burned Ferguson to the ground that the United Nations stood. I'm saying that to say that there's a time to be violent and there's a time to be non-violent. You don't marry yourself to either strategy. You use it based on your analysis of the situation and how you got to use it. But because America got upset, because America became fearful of the fact that if too much attention keeps on being paid to the white police murder of black males, we might have a human rights lawsuit on our hands. So they said we got to do something to get the attention away from the white killer cops and put it back on the black male as the main repository of violence. And guess what they did? They got with CNBC, they got with C-SPAN, Fox News, CNBC, Headline News, and they came together and said, this is what we gonna do. Too much attention is being paid to white cops who kill black men, so we got to redirect the focus of the popular public to the black male as the killer, not the white male as the killer. And the next week, Ray Rice was on your television. Yes. The next week, Adrian Peterson was on your television. A few months later, Bill Cosby was on your television. This was not by accident. How can we get the attention off of white police? We're going to put it on black males who beat their women at home. It was a strategy, brothers and sisters. I didn't say it's acceptable for a brother and his wife, not at all. We should never condone it. But we also know that the white male cares nothing about the black female or the black male. That whole Adrian Peterson, Ray Rice situation was about refocusing the world's attention on the fact that black males are inherently violent. And if the police don't kill them and keep them in control, look at what they do. They will beat their children and beat up on their women. This was a strategy. And then they poured Bill Cosby out. And don't get me wrong, as an elder, I don't wish that type of treatment on nobody. But because Bill Cosby spent so much of his professional life sanitizing the behavior of white folks against black people, blaming us for our predicament exclusively, talking about how we need to stop blaming racism, we've made progress, blame yourself. Check your kids' homework and make sure they go to school. Stop talking about racism. Isn't it ironic that the number one black man who spent his life protecting the power structure got destroyed by the power structure? Bill Cosby, Uncle Remus himself. Yeah, we both from North Philadelphia, but Bill ain't never done nothing for the hood. Don't get me wrong, I went to a Bill Cosby lecture he gave once in North Philadelphia at the Met Church, and it was one of the best lectures I heard in my life. If I didn't know it was Bill Cosby, I would have thought it was Marcus Garvey giving the lecture. The brother knew history, he knew racism, he put it down in front of an all-black audience. But the next week, he was on Larry King, cracking jokes again. He was on Larry King, sanitizing white folks' behavior against black people. Here's a man who spent his whole life making white folks look acceptable to blacks. And look what they did to him. Now, black woman, we know that we got an issue with rape in our community. We know the black woman is more likely to be raped than the woman of any other cultural group. This we know. But what woman do you know, being of white skin, having the benefit of white privilege, who gets sexually taken advantage of by a black man in 1978? In 1978, I was 4. She said she got raped by Cosby when I was 4 and didn't tell nobody until I turned 40. Who believes that? Bill Cosby was at the top of his career when these alleged rapes took place. Do you know how much money they would have got from him then? Do you know how effectively they would have destroyed his career? Had they spoken then? I'm going to wait till he's out of the public spotlight. I'm going to wait till he no longer has as many millions as he used to have. I'm going to wait till I'm old and unattractive my damn self. And then I'm going to tell. You know what happened? Bill Cosby was planning another major economic boom. Not for black folk. Don't get it twisted. Not for you. It was for self. Okay? Then y'all go with that Obama-ism. Y'all start, yeah. And just like they did a couple years ago when they murdered his son, when he tried to buy one of the major networks, I think Cosby was planning something even bigger than that. And so in order to disadvantage his attempt to acquire another major network, they assassinated his character to the point that nobody would dare even consider offering him the opportunity to purchase a major network. But the Bill Cosby story, brothers and sisters, is very, very critical towards you understanding how white folks work. They will use you as long as they need you, as they did with Cosby, as they did with Jackson, as they're doing with Sharpton. And when they no longer need you, they will expose you to the world as another worthless Negro. Because what black folk fail to recognize is when you build these relationships with white folk, those relationships are not based on a relationship of trust. It's only based on a purpose you serve. As I always say, black people have white friends. White people have black servants. And you got to know the difference. If you tell me you have a white friend, I can tell you you are serving a purpose in the life of that white person. White folks don't have black folk around them unless there's a benefit in it. Brothers and sisters, Chicago, we have to get our real estate game together, brothers. We can talk all the nationalism we want, but if we don't start locking down some real estate, there will be no nation to build. We have to stop selling our homes. We have to stop selling our property. We have to start investing in growth industries right in the ghetto to put black people to work. We have to be able to do this. Listen, I can never justify somebody selling out their people. I can never justify a turncoat or a traitor, but I do understand the behavior. As a psychologist, I have to interpret why people do what people do. And if you are black in America, unless you have a spiritual commitment to your people, there's nothing materialistic that's going to keep you loyal to your community. We don't put nobody to work. We can't deliver nobody's baby. We can't distribute nobody's product. We can barely educate our own children. If you are black, beyond your spiritual commitment to your people, what reason are we giving our children to stay loyal? These are questions we got to ask. Because many of your children, right here, right now, you might be loyal to the struggle, but your children won't be. They will grow up and say, Mommy and Daddy, I love Dr. King. But black folks didn't help Dr. King in his moment of need. I love Malcolm, but when Malcolm was murdered, no black organization helped Betty raise those girls. She struggled on her own. I love Medgar Evers, but after that man died, nobody even remembers his memory. There were so many of our heroes, all people do is talk about the wrong that they did, not the good. So mommy, daddy, why would I want to be a freedom fighter for my people when the only payment I get is criticism about how I should have done a better job? That's right. We got to look at this, brothers and sisters. I know Dr. King going out on Coretta wasn't a good thing, but here's my question. Did Coretta ever go public with him? Did Coretta ever go to Wolf Blitzer? Did Coretta go to God Living? Did Coretta sit down with Tavis and talk about Dr. King's extramarital affairs? If the woman to whom he was committed never once spoke against anything he did and kept it to herself out of respect, who the hell are you to air it out in the public? Certain type of a young black woman back then. You got to remember Betty and Coretta and Miley Evers and Amy Garvey, they was in their 20s dealing with these giant black men amongst us. It was hard for them to walk that walk. I know she hurt inside, but for the sake of the movement, she kept it inside. Now I know it'll be a little bit different today. There was no Facebook in 1960. There was no tweets. And no Instagram. So, brother, if you get caught today, she's gonna air you out. Which shape up? I want my parents in here to know that every Tuesday morning, and Brother Dennis is going to start passing around the sign-up sheet. If we don't already have it out there, I want everybody to make sure. Where we at, Brother Dennis, with that sign-up sheet? Brother Yusuf got it at the table. I like to circulate it if we can, Brother Yusuf, so everybody don't have to go to the table all at once. I want to circulate that. Everybody give me your name, your phone number, your email. I'm building a massive email blast to keep you guys posted about the different things that I'm doing. Also, that sign-up sheet will be for the Black Parent Association of Chicago. Make sure you sign up for that. And if you don't live in Chicago, there's a column that says comments. Put the city in which you live. Whether it's Springfield, whether you came from Detroit. I know we had some brothers and sisters who drove up from St. Louis. Put your city, because we want to make sure that we organize you with the Parent Association in your city. 7 committees: special ed, to fight against the special ed war. School discipline, to fight against the suspension and the detention. School policy, to change the rules in the schools that are negatively affecting our children. School finance, to figure out where they're spending our children's money at. Parent advocacy, to train parents to go into the schools with other parents to help them fight to protect their children. Black mothers and fathers, never go to the school by yourself. Stop doing it. Black men, I know you're not scared of them Europeans in the school system. But I still don't want you going by yourself, because if you make the white teacher upset, she will claim that you threatened her. And they will escort you out in handcuffs, and never again will you be allowed to pick up your child's report card. Always take somebody with you. We're going to have a social committee to put on positive programs for black parents to help them do a better job raising their children. So make sure you sign. If you don't know what committee you want to belong to, you can leave that blank for now. But the most important thing today is that I have your phone number, your email, and your cell phone. Yes. I said that twice. Name, email, and phone number. Very important. Every Tuesday morning, black people, every Tuesday morning, remember this, every Tuesday, because I don't want you to ever say, I needed help with my kid and I didn't know who to turn to. I host a free Black Parent teleconference every Tuesday morning, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Eastern time. So that would be 5 to 7 your time every Tuesday. So if you ever have a question, education or mental health about your child, you don't know what to do. They sent a letter home and said, we want your son tested for ADHD. I don't know what to do. They think my son got a reading disability. I don't know what to do. They think he needs medicine. I don't know what to do. All you have to do is call in. That's all you have to do. Dr. Johnson, Dr. Umar, Brother Umar, this is what they're doing. How do I respond? And I will help you. That's my expertise. Okay? some bad news while I was sitting backstage waiting to come out here. A former administrator at the St. Paul's College in Lawrenceville, Virginia. You guys know we've been trying to raise $2 million to purchase the St. Paul's College since last May. So it's been almost 12 months. And I want to thank all of you who have made the donations because we raised about $300,000. We just started the GoFundMe campaign. I didn't want to do GoFundMe, y'all know that, because they take so much of the money. You got to give them 4%, and you got to give the financial transaction company another 4%. That's almost 10% on $2 billion. That's $200,000 because you're too lazy to go to the post office and mail off. But anyhow, we went to the GoFundMe. So between the GoFundMe and the mail-in donations that I'm still getting, we're probably just over 300,000. I'm not complaining. I'm thankful to all of you who donate. But the reason why I can't celebrate too much is because when Officer Darren Wilson, shout out Brother Darren, white folks started a GoFundMe for him. And they gave that white man over $300,000 in just 3 weeks to defend a killer cop. And here's Dr. Umar Johnson after almost a full year. And I'm still only at 300,000. So for those of you who donated and have donated consistently, I'm not talking to you. For those of you who didn't know, and you know today, you still have time to donate, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking about the ones of you who know that we've been out there struggling, beating the streets to get this money together and didn't think enough about our sons to offer some sort of donation of what we're trying to do. Brothers and sisters, how many white kids we put through college with the money we spend in the stores? How many Chinese kids been to college with the money we spend at the Chinese establishment? How many Arab Indian children have we educated? So you mean to tell me you don't mind putting the Jewish babies to school and you don't mind putting the Asian babies to school, but when we say it's time for you to put some money together so we can put black boys and girls through school, you wouldn't be reluctant. But the news that I just got when I was backstage was that the federal government has just entered into a bid to buy St. Paul's College. Now, had he told me it was a private white company, I would have thought of it. But because he said the federal government, I believe they're doing that on purpose. Because they see us marching towards the goal. And they're going to buy that school just to block Dr. Umar Johnson. But what I know is this. Whenever the devil is busy, the Lord is even busier. And so I got word just a few days ago that there's another college for sale in this country. I can't tell you where and I can't tell you when. Because you know how y'all do me on social media. My God. I don't know what it is about me, but I'm newsfeed all day long. I had a text when I was backstage. Do you really have a doctorate? Or are you really a school psychologist? Do you really think white folks are going to let me come into a court of law and defend a child against a misdiagnosis without them crossing my eyes, dotting my eyes, and crossing my T's? I don't even answer those questions no more. I'm beyond. Thank you, kid. I love you too. That there's a school for sale, and tomorrow I have to fly on down to go and visit it. So I got to leave out early. I was going to stay in Chicago till Tuesday, which I know I love y'all that much. But I got to cut the visit short because this college that's for sale has an asking price of $900,000. That is less than half of the $2 billion for St. Paul. And I'm being told that it's in better condition than St. Paul. So tomorrow, I'm going to fly down, and on Monday, I have an appointment to tour the school and take pictures and ask my questions. But brothers and sisters, if the school checks out, and they only want 900,000, we already at 300,000. We got to push to get the other 6. Will y'all help me get the other 6? And I'm telling you, the ancestors are something. Because had I not learned about that college, when I just got that news about St. Paul, I would have probably been hit a little bit. But that news came to me just before. It's almost as if the universe knew we're going to give them something good before they give us something bad. So if you haven't made a donation, make sure you go to GoFundMe.com, GoFundMe.com/Dr. Umar, DRUMAR. You can make a donation on your cell phone right now as you're sitting here. If you prefer to mail it in, because I know some of y'all don't like doing electronic money. I feel you. Then you can mail it in to FDMG Academy, payable to FDMG Academy, P.O. Box 6872, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 19132. Sure. P.O. Box 6872, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 19132. That's where you can mail your check or your money order. If you're giving me a check or money order today, you can put it in Sister Anna's hand. Any member of my team, Brother Yusuf, who did the poetry today, can put it in his hand. Any security, I'll get it. But if you're giving me a check or money order today, make sure your name and your mailing address, well, your name got it, but make sure your mailing address and phone number and or email is on it. Because when we finally open the school, I want to be able to invite all of my donors to a special grand opening reception. And I can only do that if I have the time. So write the address and put a phone number or an email. I prefer an email. Let's just say mailing address and email. And if you're giving me cash, and y'all know I don't prefer cash for donation, I like a tracking record. I'd rather it be a check or money order. But this is what we got now. I improved. We have these envelopes for donations. Where's Sister Anna? Raise your hand, Sister Anna. Are you still in here? There she is. Wait, okay, Sister Anna has the envelopes. Do not take this envelope unless you're making a cash donation to the school. If you have a check or money order, you don't need an envelope. Okay? If you're using cash, you need an envelope. Put all your information on there, your address, whether you want to join a parent association, boom, and you mail it. You give it to her or one of the member of my team, or you can mail it. Okay, just put a stamp on it. But we got envelopes now for the donations. So brothers and sisters, I will be posting on social network late Monday night about the school that I'm going to go and visit, because $900,000 is a steal. Yeah. Okay, and I'm hoping that it checks out. And I'm going to try to get it even lower than that. We might can get them for maybe 6 if they're asking 9. Okay, but y'all got to keep the donations coming in. Don't donate once, donate 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. Keep on coming back. Stop sending me texts talking about I made my donation. I made my donation. I gave a whole $5, so leave me alone. For those of you who want to work at the school, please send me your resume. We need teachers. I need math and science. I need language. I need history. I need school nurses and counselors. I need social workers. I need house parents. I need computer science, computer programming, transportation. Yes, we're going to need bus drivers. We're going to have bulletproof buses for the kids. But you can send your resume to FDMGresumes@gmail.com. FDMGresumes with an S @gmail.com. I also need people who know how to grow, how to plant, how to farm, solar energy. We got these sisters in here who still know how to sew clothing from scratch. I need some of that. All of our children are going to have to make their own uniforms. Dr. John Henry Clark said that people who cannot make their own underwear aren't fit to rule a nation. So guess what's the first article of clothing your children will be making? Their own drawers. They will be holy and holy, but they will be mad. So send your resume. FDMG. F for Frederick, D for Douglas, M for Marcus, G for Garvey. Resumes. RESUMES @gmail.com. I need more science and math teachers. I'm not getting enough of them. I got all the history teachers I can hold. But I need that STEM. That's science, technology, engineering, and math. I need somebody who knows the stock market inside and out. Need people who know the real estate market inside and out. Remember, FDMG is going to be founded on 6 core curriculum. One will be financial and economic science. We want all the children to master the real estate market of Illinois as a freshman in high school. 10th grade, we want them to have their own business plan. 11th grade, we want them to understand multinational trades investment and raw resource acclimation. We want our kids to work for themselves, because most schools are only preparing our kids to work for life. The education for black children in 2015 must be an education that puts them in a position to make their own job. There are no jobs in America, y'all. How many of us are out there struggling, looking for work, even with college degrees? It doesn't even matter if you have a prison record anymore. Even if you don't have one, you can't find work. So we got to be the incubators of economic opportunity. And FDMG will be that. We got a lot of good black schools out there. But many of them are only preparing our kids to get into college. That's not victory. All you're doing is passing your responsibility of preparing them for life onto a white college. How was that any victory for us? We want our kids to know how to make money the day after graduation. We want them to know that the top 1% richest people in America never went to college. That if you know how to invest properly in the stock market, you can make more money than a surgeon does. There's many roads to wealth. But we keep telling our kids the same old story. Jobs and college. And we have to change it. We're going to have a political and military science curriculum where we teach our children the art of self-defense. And yes, there will be weapons training. There will be weapons training. There will be weapons training. And I'm not a violent brother, don't you get me wrong. I've never had to take a life. I hope to God I never will have to. I hope to God your child never will have to. But if your son or daughter is ever in a situation where they have to defend the life of an African unjustly targeted for death, we need them to be able to handle themselves responsibly. 8, 9, 10. Yes, 8, 9, and 10 years old. Ain't nothing wrong with guns. It's the irresponsibility of the person using the weapon. They want every black person in Chicago to give up your guns. Take them to the police station and get a free Dunkin' Donut coupon. 6 donuts for a firearm. A gallon of shea butter for a firearm. You don't give up your weapons, you keep your weapons. What they're trying to do, they have had regular shortages of ammunition. Regular shortages of ammunition. Now keep in mind, the white male loves his gun more than almost anything in this country except his dog. Okay? Guns and dogs. Okay? They are always making bullets. So for there to be a bullet shortage in a country that's crazy about bullets, can you imagine how many guns these folks got? These white boys got big safes in their houses with 50 guns. They're not just buying for themselves, they buying to arm the whole neighborhood. You gotta be doing the same thing. If they only allow you to buy a gun a week, then you buy a gun a week. A gun a month, a gun a month. Put yourself in a position where you are prepared, God forbid, if and when martial law comes to fruition. We just have to teach them to respect the life-ending power of a gun. Right. But we cannot get away from defense. Do you realize the white man runs the world today because he has the most advanced weaponry? Why can't Africa stand up and kick out Africa? They can't because they don't have a standing army on the continent of Africa that can last a day with America, Britain, or France. They're intimidated by the military weaponry. The white man is king because he got the biggest gun. How dare you say you don't want to talk about guns? You don't want to deal with guns. You think you can pray this away? You ain't going to be able to pray this away. We have so much escapism in the black community. So much escapism. Where people escape through religion. I didn't say nothing wrong with religion. I said when you use it as a crutch. People escape through alcohol, escape through cigarettes, escape through shopping, escape through spirituality. Do you realize that in most African traditions, there's a deity of war in every one? That's right. There is no such thing as African spirituality with a principle that says you may have to die and sacrifice your life for the advancement of all. Even if you Christian, what is the foundational teaching of your doctrine? That God so gave the world his only son as a sacrifice. What's the message in the Bible and the Quran? There is no redemption without bloodshed. Freedom is more expensive than life. If Jesus had to die, if Abraham was put in a position where he had to sacrifice one of his sons, in African spirituality, we've spilled the blood of an animal in many sacrifices. What's the message? You want to open up the heavens for some assistance? You're going to have to lay down your life sometimes. The world is based on that. And we have to stop looking for a perfect revolution before we get off our backsides and do something. This is one of the biggest problems we got. I have people come to my lectures or send me emails or texts or tweets or Facebooks or Instagrams, and they say, well, Dr. Johnson, if I get involved in this struggle, how can I make sure I don't go to jail? How I'm going to make sure I don't get shot? Do you realize that the heart of revolution is uncertainty about your destiny? At any moment you can go. And that ain't the problem. We all got to go anyway. The problem is we do not train our babies to replace us in the struggle, so there's no time out or quit. Dr. King was murdered, we still ain't down to replace him. Garvey gets deported, we still ain't down to replace him. Medgar gets assassinated, no replacement. And Medgar Evers was a genius, y'all. Of all of our leaders who were murdered, he stands out as one, not the only, but as one who was the most willing to give his life. They said him and his wife joked about it on a regular basis that he would have to die for what he believed in. And Medgar Evers, having been trained in warfare, coming from the war, in his house, and if you ever go to Jackson, Mississippi, make sure you visit the Medgar Evers house. Guess what he did? In his intelligence, this brother had the windows on the house lifted up, and he had the floor dropped. So if somebody would shoot into the house, it would go over their heads. He took the door off the front of the house and put the door on the side. It's the only house on the block without a front door. It's on the side. So if somebody was shooting and they had to go into the house, they would have difficulty hitting them because you would have to hit them from the side. And that's why when he was finally assassinated, they had to be in a very special place to take his life because of how he engineered the house to be assassination proof. We got so many great minds that we don't know enough about that we got to get to know. So much so, brothers and sisters. But there's no easy way out of this. You got to pray, but you still got to work. You got to meditate, but you still got to work. My vegetarian people, I'm glad you're helping us eat better. But don't you think white supremacy dies because you eat cucumbers. We got to understand. No, I'm being serious. Because sometimes with my vegetarian people, I'm loving the diet and making us healthy and very relevant to our struggle. But what are you doing besides that to destroy our number one enemy in opposition? That's the question I got with y'all. Don't get me wrong, my school will be 80% raw and vegan. FDMG, 80% raw and vegan. And if you know how to prepare raw and vegan food, send me your resume. But make sure you know how to make it taste good. It gotta taste good. Y'all know what I'm talking about? You eat from this vegan vendor, they make that thing taste like anything you want it to taste. You eat from this vegan vendor, it's like a sand sandwich or something. Alright? Our kids are going to go hungry, I'm going to have a hunger strike! Some of y'all probably saying, why isn't the school going to be 100% raw and vegan? Because I don't want to be a hypocrite. And once in a while, I want some meat. I'm just being real. 80%. Once in a while, one of them kids might want some meat. Now, if you want your child to be 100%, we're going to obey that. But they're only required to be 80. Because once in a while, I might get a craving for that. Some scripts or something. Speaking of that, check me out. There's a brother in North Carolina who is an expert seashell fisher. He's going to teach me the art of how to go hunting for crab and oyster and lobster and shrimp. And we're going to turn it into a curriculum at the school so our kids will learn how to do seafood fishing. Black people who invented the seafood industry. Did you know that? We were the first to make seafood a delicacy. Yes, we were. So at FDMG, we're going to have a seafood fest once a month. Yeah. All you can eat buffet with the butter and the garlic. My God. This ain't just school, go home! And depending on how many acres are available at the school we finally end up with, we want to build homes on the campus for our teachers. Because we want to use the school as a front for a Black Wall Street operation. See, they think we just teach, and we will be teaching. But they don't realize that once you get 10 families down there, we're going to need a gas station. Once we get 20 families down there, we're going to need a hospital. Once we get 30 families down there, we're going to need our own police force. Y'all see what's happening? Then our own shipping distribution network. And before you know it, it's time to petition the state to become an independent corporate town. And you don't have to worry about no more police brutality because all the police will be our own. Are y'all following me? See, I got a lot of little strategies. I just can't give them all to you because people talk too much. I gotta drop a seed here and there. I can't come out. And then I got little conscious crooks who just want to steal my ideas and run off with it. They take my slogans, my words. I'm listening to interviews, and 85% of the man's interview is my interview. Don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking it because the information don't belong to me. It belongs to the universe. It just comes through me. Every once in a while, can I get a footnote or something? I met a brother who knows how to make shoes. Wow. I met him in Atlanta. He's going to be at FDMG teaching our children how to make their own shoes. Imagine if we can make the shoe popular enough for everybody to wear it. What happens to Nike and Timberland? Somebody so Dr. Johnson, if you're really serious about the black family, brother, when you open up your school and you start interviewing teachers and staff, you will make it a requirement that everybody who works for you, if you're serious about the black family, you will make it a requirement that everybody who works for you is either married or engaged at the time. That's right. Now we got a little quiet in here. I thought about it and I love the idea, except for one thing. If there's a more credentialed system than the one who's married, I can't shortchange the children purely for that purpose, but I can see additional score going to the fact that you got a husband and a wife couple who teach it and also emulating the family structure that we need our children to copy. I see something. So we can have a win-win situation. Okay? Or all we got to do is hire 50 thirsty brother and 50 thirsty sister. It's just the one big thirsty marriage. I hope that when I got here today, I would have had the Africa trip information final. I'm 99% of the way there, except the brother putting together the package for the Eritrea Kenya trip didn't give me the final cost. So this is where we at. And this should all be over by Monday for those of y'all who coming with me on my second group tour to Africa. We're either going to go to Ghana and South Africa, or we're going to go, or that's the West African package, or we're going to go to Eritrea and Kenya on the east side. So it's a toss-up. It's a big toss-up because you know that Eritrea is by Ethiopia, that's the cradle of civilization. Kenya is that blue Nile, white Nile, that's the cradle. So do we go to the cradle, or do we go to the last point of demarcation before our ancestors were brought here? Do we do the Ghana thing? And that South Africa thing. So we working on it. You know what it's going to come down to? The cost. My brothers and sisters, let me give you the dates now. If we do Ghana and South Africa, the trip is going to be from July 24th to August the 7th. If we do Eritrea and Kenya, the trip will be from July 13th to August the 2nd. Okay? Each trip is $4,500. That's what we're looking at. Everything included, except you're spending money in meals. Some of the meals are included too, but that ain't gonna be enough food for you. Meals. Okay? So if you're interested in going, just shoot me a text or visit my Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and I will have the information there, how you pay, and everything. If the children are going 2 years and younger, they go for free. You just have to pay travel tax, assuming they're going to sit on your lap the entire ride. Okay? Some of y'all got twins. Can you handle that for 12 hours? Okay? Now, get your passport if you don't have it. You should have it anyway. You don't need a visa for South Africa. You don't need shots for South Africa. For Ghana, they want the yellow fever, but there is an exemption you can fill out. I need to see what Eritrea want. I'm pretty sure they're going to want some shots because then they Ethiopia, you got a little hepatitis popping off over there. Kenya, they're pretty well developed. I don't know what Kenya wants. They're pretty developed. Okay? So start saving your money. You'll be able to pay as you go. The initial deposit will probably be about $300, and then you'll be responsible for making sure the final payment is made about 2 weeks before the trip. So hopefully some of y'all still got your income tax payments. Okay? Brothers, if you owe child support, pay it off. You will not get a passport with any back money. Okay? So, say that again, 4,500. Oh, the date. For Ghana and South Africa, July 24th to August the 7th. For Eritrea and Kenya, it will be from July 13th to August the 2nd. And there's a lot to do over in Kenya. You know, you got Mombasa, you got the Mau Mau warriors, you got I mean, we're gonna get down either way it goes. And I'm gonna tell y'all right now, you're going to Dr. Umar trip, the bus ride is funner than the attractions. Because when you get 50 black folk from different cities in America all on one bus with their own type of shea butter, I mean the bus ride. I had more fun on the bus, I think. But you'll be able to get your African hair done, you'll be able to get African clothing made, you'll be able to get your African name, we're gonna have a naming ceremony. You get a spiritual reading if you need a spiritual reading. Okay, so there'll be a lot to do. We're going to the museums, we're going to take boat rides, the safari. Okay, might leave some of y'all there. Okay, but we'll have that soon. 4,500 both trips per person. Per person. Now, do you have to leave with us? No. If you want to go and meet us over there, you can do that too. You can just pay for the trips itself. If you can find a cheaper flight, you can do that. Okay? If you have a son between the ages of 11 and 17, I will be hosting a Black Boy HBCU, Historically Black College Pan-African Boot Camp this summer. It's going to be 2 of them. They're going to be in July or August. So it'll be before we go to Africa or right after we come back from Africa. I'm probably going to do 2 because some kids go back to school in August and some kids go back to school in September. It's going to be 10 days, 7 to 10 days. Your son will be with me in my chaperones, 11 to 17. If your son is 10 and he's mature enough to go, he can come. If your son is 18 and 19 and you feel you can really benefit from his trip, we can squeeze him on it as long as he ain't got no beard as big as mine. Now, during the day, we want to take them to visit colleges, mostly black colleges, but there will be some white colleges. Why am I going to take your son to visit some white colleges? Because some white colleges don't have no black students on campus. And if your son plays his cards right, he might get a full scholarship to go to Outback University. So we're going to visit a couple white universities, okay? So in the daytime, we go to the college. We want to squeeze some black museums in there. We want to squeeze some ancestral grave sites in there, some historical places. And at night in the hotel room, your son, nephew, little brother will be with me, and we're going to do seminars every night in the hotel. Seminars on what to do when you get stopped by the police. Seminars on why you need to respect your mother and every black woman you see. Seminars on college preparation. Seminars on peer pressure. Seminars on alcohol and marijuana. Seminars on sexually transmitted diseases. Because you know they off the hook. The chlamydia and the gonorrhea is clapping everybody. If you got the clap, clap. Clap on. So I have a lot to talk to your sons about. So if you got a nephew, little brother, now some of y'all are going to ask me the question, Dr. Johnson, is this only for boys who are going down the wrong path? No. It's for all black boys. You may have a straight A student with a perfect SAT score. He needs to come to get his acculturation. Because a lot of them straight A black boys, if we don't make them culture sound, they will be with white women and they'll be selling out their community. Now some of the sisters are going to ask me the question. Ladies, you know I love y'all. We will have girls on the tour next year. Okay. The reason I'm not doing girls this year is because you know when you bring that masculine and feminine energy together, especially during the teenage years, it's going to be some thirst. And I don't want nobody's daughter coming back to Chicago pregnant. We was all teenagers before, and we all went to camp. And what did you do? You waited for the camp director to fall asleep, and there was a twerk fest! And I can't afford to have no twerk fest! Oh my goodness! Because if one of your daughters get pregnant, you gonna talk about me on Facebook and say he's a fake and a fraud. Y'all feel me? But next year, I'm gonna have some of y'all sisters, y'all gonna be the chaperones. Okay? We would have the girls in a separate hotel that's right next to the boy hotel. We would have 24-hour security. Okay? And so next year the boys can go with the girls. But this year is going to be all boys. And don't get me wrong, I hate to say it, but I'm going to have some sexual issues just with the boys. Because y'all know what type of climate we live in. Y'all remember when we went to camp? If you had a roommate, which was normal, you just had a roommate. I remember spending the night at my cousin's house, spending the night at my best friend's house. We was innocent. We wasn't into all this new stuff. But now I'm going to have to screen the boys. Are y'all following me? Because I don't know what's going on. You set a room with another 10-year-old, he go in the room and take off his pants. He got a thong on with red hearts on it. And then the thong song come on. Where's Dr. Umar? So I'm going to have to check the kids all night. I'm going to have to check because I don't know who got the freaky diggies. When we was in camp, they would put an older boy with a younger boy to be the mentor, right? The role model, not mentor, but the role model. You know, so you can, you 11, he's 16, bring him up. Can't do that. Take advantage of him sexually. So, it's going to be, it's hard now. So they done messed the whole game up. And now there's a law now. They're trying to pass a law for the colleges. I don't know if you heard about it. They're trying to pass a law now where all the showers can only be single-person shower. Now, for those of y'all who was in high school sports, we played football, basketball, we just took a shower. We was innocent. We wasn't thinking about no sodomy. But now with this whole new sodomy thing, they need individual showers, which means that's going to cost me more money because I'm going to have to construct individual showers at the school because they took away our boys' innocence from that. And y'all know what's going on here in Chicago, right? It's been all over the news. Y'all 5th grade sex ed curriculum in Chicago. They're teaching the 5th graders in Chicago how to use anal condoms. Yes. I got one of the worksheets. Somebody send me the worksheet. Y'all have to check into the schools and see what they're doing with your children. Why does my 5th grade daughter need to know about using a condom at all? Because I can teach her that as a father when the time comes. But I don't need to keep putting ideas in her head before she even thinking about that. And now they want to show you how to use an anal condom. They shouldn't be. It's sexy. That's why we got to pull them out of school. My son can't read, but you want to show him how to use anal condom. See that? My daughter can't count, but you want to teach her all this other anti-African behavior. And let me deal with that because I want to clarify myself. Because I'm no supporter of the LGBT movement. I'm not. But at the same time, I do not advocate hate nor harm to any African person, no matter what situation they're in. And I want to be clear about that. I want to be very clear about it. As a therapist who works with homosexual males, I know what they deal with, what they face, what they struggle with. So I would never want to laugh at, mock, or disrespect one of my brothers because it's very difficult for them to live with that type of a mindset that they believe they were born with because they don't understand the trauma. So I would never mock or hurt nor harm, but I reserve the right to disagree with them. Because even though I know the brother practicing homosexuality, the sister practicing lesbianism, she's not a part of the New World Order, but you're still being used just the same. Just like the brother on the corner selling drugs, he don't work for the United States government, but by virtue of his behavior, he's being used just the same. Brothers and sisters, homosexuality is birth control for black people. Lesbianism is population control. This ain't about sex. This ain't about family rights. This ain't about civil rights. If I can make a whole generation of black boys not be interested in laying with black girls, our ancestors will never reincarnate. This is killing the family tree. That's why we against this. I don't hate you, black man. You my brother. You just confused right now. But I don't hate you. But don't ask me to co-sign that. Because to co-sign that is to co-sign the white supremacists who finance in your life. come before yours. Don't let nobody struggle. Be considered as equal to yours. Back in the 40s, we let the Jews blend in with us. And European Jews got with black folk and started the NAACP and the Urban League. And once they got a white economic stimulus package, they don't even know you no more. Native Americans once sided with blacks on some limited issues. And once they got those casinos and the reservations, they don't know you no more. The Latinos have used you for your numerical. And now the LGBTs, they rap. And now the LBGTs want to use you. Do you know that there was homosexual slave masters who would sodomize heterosexual black males against their will? Do you know that one of the major crimes in slavery was the sodomization of black males by a slave master? And you want me to co-sign something that's been used as a badge of shame for black men since we got here? White America loves the effeminate black man. And I hate to say it. But the effeminate black male hates the heterosexual black man. There's a jealousy towards us because we didn't cave in. There's a jealousy towards the black man with swagger because despite all the hell you get, you still got your pen dangling. There's a hate for a black male who is still proud to be a man in the fullest definition of the word, when so many other black men are trading in their trousers for panties. I'm just being honest here. But I know a little way we can remix this whole LBGT thing. The black version. I ain't got nothing to do with the white version. And that's another thing. Because white people stay wanting to interview me about some LBGT. We cannot have an equalitarian conversation. Because this is a natural part of your culture. Caesar was. Alexander the Great was. Napoleon was. Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Epictetus. This is what y'all do. I didn't say all white males are gay. In fact, I know that most white males are not gay. But the behavior is more acceptable because it's been with your cultural heritage ever since you had a cultural heritage. But for us, it's never been with us until the European came amongst us. There isn't even a reference to homosexual behavior in most African cultures prior to the arrival of the European and the Arab. You don't find it. Hundreds of languages and not a single word to describe homosexual behavior because it was not a part of who we are. Now let me take it a step further. I want to go to the spiritual with this. When God created the world, by whom whatever name you choose to call her, when she created the world in the masculine and the feminine principle which are equal. Not one is better than the other. The Creator put forth a masculine and a feminine principle in perfect balance. That's why when you read in the Bible, it says, and God created Adam. Not Adam, A-D-A-M, but Adam, A-T-O-M. The molecule of existence. The building block. God created Adam. And they say that he took a rib from Adam to make Eve. That was allegorical. It was metaphorical. What they meant was from the positive charge of creation. The masculine came a feminine charge right next to it, that there can be no molecule of creation, no ashe, without both a masculine and a feminine principle. That's our culture. That's our culture. So and everything in existence, me, you, this table, the plants, the animals, our babies at home, are infused with both the masculine and the feminine energy. Because for every male, you have a female. For every north, you have a south. For every positive charge, you have a negative charge. And when we talk about the negative charge, we are not calling the black woman negative. In scientific terminology, the negative charge is the pole that receives the energy. So supreme consciousness in her, his infinite wisdom, set up a perfect balance of masculine and feminine energy, yin and the yang. If we go against that, if you put two positive cables together on the car, what happens? We be going to your cemetery. The universe is designed for the feminine to receive the masculine to be with the feminine, not just in sex, but in all things. And we as African people are serious about that. We know that the universe and the creator who made it has a purpose. And we don't tamper with divine organization. That's all we do. We don't hate you. In fact, we know many of you just confused. We got little kids in 4th grade talking about I'm gay. Can't even spell it. 3rd grade, you don't even have the impulse to have relations yet as a 3rd grader. But you can tell me for sure you lesbian. No, somebody playing with your mind. Somebody said, Dr. Johnson, will you have gay and lesbian children at FDMG? Yes, because there's no such thing as a gay and lesbian black child. Just to confuse one. Bring them all in. Bring his ass on in. Bring that sugar, that Kool-Aid. Strawberry shea butter. Bring them all in. So what do you want to do, Dr. Johnson? You're going to tell him that he can't be gay? No. I don't do that in therapy. Number one, it's illegal, but I wouldn't do it anyway. All I have to do is bring him into the knowledge of himself. And when you know what a black man is, you will never want to be anything else. And when that lesbian sister come in there all tough and masculine, when the sister staff, keep going with her, teaching her how to bring reverence to her womb. She's never going to be anything else but a goddess again. It ain't that hard. But I'll tell you something else I've noticed. Working with my lesbian girls in the high school, I do little groups with the traumatized ladies, and a lot of them end up becoming sexually confused by virtue of the rape and the molestation. But I noticed there's something that goes on now. Every once in a while, when a masculine brother walks in, occasion to be with groups of homosexual boys who will swear to you up and down, I'm gay, it's the way it's going to be, I'm talking proud to be gay. But then every once in a while, a feminine queen comes in there, irking with feminine energy. And once in a while, you do a little something. But I thought you was gay! My point is, if we bring the right energy to our sexually confused brothers and sisters, I think we can bust through all that falsification of identity, brothers and sisters. We're against the homosexuality because it discriminates against black people. Only one black woman getting married in America. Half of them can't find a husband because of the war against black males. Who got the most to lose from this? Black women. And I know black women don't say it, but I know y'all tired of this whole tenderizer movement going on. And y'all ready for a real man. Remember back in the day when a black man walked in the room, you didn't even know he came, but you felt him when he walked. Swagalicious. Everybody wants skinny jeans. There will be no skinny jeans at my store. And black men, please understand, you gotta be skinny to wear skinny jeans. You 5 pounds with skinny jeans on? Those are football pants. I want to get to the children and I want to wrap it up. But I want to say this. We're working on a 4-color magazine called Unapologetically African. And many of you here in Chicago haven't had a chance to write an article yet because I hadn't been back since November. So I want to give you guys an opportunity, if you would like to submit one, send in an article. This is going to be our version of The Source, a magazine on Pan-African culture, marriage, life, beauty, diet, health, family. We're going to talk about racism, discrimination, economics. I mean, this is going to be the magazine for conscious black folk. If you would like to submit an article, you have 2 weeks from now to do it. Your article can be no more than 2,500 words long, but you can submit more than one article. Make sure you submit your picture, your photo with your article, because if you get selected, we need your picture to go into the magazine. So for my sisters, because this is an unapologetically African magazine, and I know some of you are not natural. No, you can still write. I just need you to put on a wig, an afro wig. When you take the picture, okay? I ain't going to tell nobody. Okay? Well, you can go borrow Steve Harvey's box wig. I'm not going to tell anybody. Okay? But I need you to look natural with your article. Okay? And you can buy Afro wig, right? Yes. Okay. So there you go. Your article can be on anything you think is relevant to black people. It doesn't have to be some deep, philosophical, conscious, intellectual thing. You might just want to talk about life as a single mother in Chicago. You might want to talk about being an unemployed black man trying to better yourself. You might want to submit a piece of poetry. Some of y'all do spoken word. Your poetry can be your submission. Some of you might want to submit a piece of artwork. Your artwork can be your submission. Some of you might want to do a book review. Some of you might want to do a review about empire and the impact it's going to have on the thinking of black children. Your article can be about anything. Some of you sisters do natural hair. You might want to do an article on natural hair care tips. Or maybe for the sisters who had too much perm, how they can get the Kojak out and grow the natural Kojak. Okay? It can be anything that's beneficial. If you're a breastfeeding mother, you might want to write an article for sisters who breastfeed, having trouble getting that lactate. Maybe there's some herbs that they can take to let the the nourishment come through for the babies. Okay? So an article can be on anything that you want, and you can submit as many articles as you like. And if you don't get selected for the first magazine, it's going to be coming out quarterly, then you will probably more than likely get selected for the next one. Okay? And remind you, I travel all over the world. So this magazine will be global. So for those of you who like to write and never wrote, you've been procrastinating, this is your opportunity to get your article, your piece of artwork read by Africans all over the world. Okay, so this is your chance. Who do you email it to? You want to email that to Umar the Psychologist at Yahoo. I got different emails for different things. Resumes is FDMG resumes at Gmail. Unapologetically African magazine articles is Umar the Psychologist at yahoo.com. My personal email, Dr. Umar Johnson at yahoo.com. Okay, but I want your articles. So that's the magazine. We talked about the Africa trip. I should have that information by Monday. The Black Boy College Tour, you will be able to register for that at drumarhbcutours.com. drumarhbcutours.com. That's where you register your son, and registration should be up in about 1 week. If any of you know of a black-owned tour bus company, black folk who got their own bus and it got on wheels on it, and the bathroom does not say out of order. I'm serious, because I once took a trip when I was Black Student Union president in college, and I signed up with this black tour bus. I couldn't believe they brought that bus to my college. I mean, it wasn't even a bus, it was like a bus or something. I don't know what it was. But if any of y'all know a black person with a bus, tour bus, it ain't got to be the best looking thing. It just got to be respectable. So when parents see it, they don't mind their son getting on it. Yes, drumarhbcutours.com. drumarhbcutours.com. Say that again, sister.
For the Africa trip, not the...
Oh, the Africa trip. I'm probably going to set up a website for it. I don't have one at present. So what you can do is either check it on my Instagram or Twitter at Dr. Umar Johnson, or on my Facebook at Dr. Umar Ifatunde, Ifatunde. A lot of you think you're following me on Facebook, but you're following the CIA. There's about 10 fake Umar pages on Facebook. They are not mine. If you are not on Dr. Umar Ifatunde, you're with the CIA. Okay? I, as in independence, F as in firmness, A as in Africa, T as in together, U as in unity, N as in nationalism, D as in dedication, E as in eternity. Dr. Umar Ifatunde. That's my Facebook page. 50,000 likes, 49,000 likes. That's the page. You don't want to be on Umar Abdullah Johnson, Dr. Umar Abdullah Johnson. Those are fraudulent. And people operate them because I go on them myself, because Facebook don't take them down, and I've been begging them to take them down, and they be switching up the logos. I put up a new logo, they take it and put it up. Dr. Umar Ifatunde. Ifatunde. Ifatunde, which is my Yoruba name, which basically means destiny has returned. Yeah. Okay? Now, let me give you all my cell phone number. In case you got to text me for the Tuesday morning call, you want to text me to check in to see whether or not the Africa trip is ready, whether I got your magazine article, can you register your son for the Black Boy College Tour, what happened with the $900,000 school for sale. My cell number is 215-989. He said, I'll pay my bill this month. 985. I'll repeat it twice more. 215-989-9858. Again. 215-989-9858. That's my cell. So if any of you need to be on that Tuesday morning call, text me for the call-in number. Okay, 6 to 8. Do me a favor. When you call the Tuesday morning call, mute your telephone. We so ghetto. People call my phone and talk about cooking pancakes and stuff. While other people got people on the phone. And ladies, it ain't that kind of party. So don't be sitting there now when you see electronic. Because if it's not attractive, I'm gonna sit in the back with a restraining order. Dr. Umar Johnson Conference. And I would invite all of y'all to come out to Brooklyn, New York at the AME Zion Church with my big brother and good friend, Dr. Claude Anderson. Our good, conscious, super producer from the music industry, David Banner. And yours truly, we'll be doing a triple lecture in Brooklyn, the Dr. Umar Johnson Conference, celebrating 10 years of Team Pan-African and 150 years since the end of slavery. You can get your tickets on my Eventbrite page, which is princeofpanafricanism.eventbrite.com. princeofpanafricanism.eventbrite.com. Pan-Africanism is spelled with a K, not a C. If you're going to New York, get your hotel room early because there's a lot of people coming out and they're getting them hotel rooms. If you come into New York, I would recommend that you get a hotel room in Newark, New Jersey. Right outside of New York, it's going to be a whole lot cheaper because it's Jersey. If you get a hotel in Brooklyn or Manhattan, Queens, they might be a little pricey. You might catch a good deal though, so first try. But to be honest with you, me personally, I stay in Jersey, North Jersey when I'm in New York because the hotel prices, unless y'all get like 6 of y'all just share king bed together. But that's where we want to be. We'll probably have some vending opportunities. I'm just waiting to hear back. I got to get in contact with the two brothers, see if they bring in merchandise to sell, see how much space we have left, after we give them what they need. But June 6th, Brooklyn, everybody coming, you want to be there. I was going to do my for sisters only on Sunday. I may still do it, but my book won't be ready yet, ladies. Cooking up the burger real slow. So the for sisters only book will probably not be ready till the fall time, when it's time for school. And the book right now is tentatively being called Thirsty. Mistakes black women make dealing with brothers. And I'm doing one for the teenage girls too. Puppy Love? Yes. And that one will be called Young Thirsty. And somebody told me to do one for the older sister. She said it, not me! She said it! Please reverse! Let me say something about miseducation. And then we're going to wrap this up. Because we got a lot of parents here who hear me for the first time. Let me give you some of the rules of the game. Number 1, never sign no paperwork you don't understand. Number 2, never make the school force you to sign paperwork on the spot. That is very disrespectful. You're talking to a principal as well as a school psychologist. If you walk into my school and I give you a paper saying we need this sign now, do you know what I'm doing? I'm totally disrespecting your ability to read and understand and decide for your child whether or not what we're asking you to sign is in their best interest. Never sign on site. Tell them I will read it. And if I agree with it, you will get it tomorrow morning. I will bring it or I will send it by way of my child. But I do not sign anything without reading it, especially in schools. Because schools are extensions of the prison system. And the teachers are the new probation officers. Rule number 4. They cannot make your child say the Pledge of Allegiance. The U.S. courts have already decided on this years ago. But I'm still getting phone calls from black parents talking about the teacher made my son say the pledge. That's illegal. If she ever makes your son say the Pledge of Allegiance, you need to write a letter of complaint to President Obama, the United States Secretary of Education, Arnie Duncan, boo. And then you send it to the superintendent of school. They cannot make your son say the Pledge of Allegiance. Now, what I would tell my son, I want you to stand when they say it. Show respect to protect yourself in the school building. Because if you come off too arrogant, then they'll start targeting yourself in the street. Are y'all following me? So stand, yes. Pledge it? No. I don't think a black child should be pledging a flag anyway. I just said it was different. You don't know that they cannot be supposed to be there. Rule number 4, do not ever sign permission for your child to be evaluated unless you believe that there is something wrong that is not the result of the fact that your child is lazy and that you are not participating in the academic life the way you should be. Listen, if you think your child is autistic, get an eval. You think they have severe profound mental retardation, get an eval. You think they have a speech and language impairment, get an eval. My 3-year-old girl got a little articulation error, so I'm going to get her assessed by a speech therapist who I know, because we all in the same network. Okay? Because my thing is, she's 3 right now. So if we get her the help she needs now, if she really does have an articulation error, it could just be developmental. She can get that therapy, speech therapy from now to 5. So when she starts kindergarten, she good. I'm not in denial about it. Okay? If Dr. Umar Johnson's daughter got an articulation error, then so be it. You got it. Right. So if speech is real, if the child needs it. But you got to be careful with speech, because a lot of charter schools are saying your children got speech impairments so they can get the special ed money, and nothing's wrong with your child. Okay? If you think the child is deaf or blind, get them the evaluation. Nothing wrong with that. But that learning disability, that's somebody's opinion. That can't be proven. ADHD, ain't no daddy at home disorder. That's somebody's opinion. That can't be proven. That's right, ain't no daddy at home disorder. That's all it is. You don't need no Hillary, you don't need no analog, you don't need no concern, no sacrifice, no meditate, no whispered all. All he needs is a mother or a father who will teach their boy how to act. That is it. They need love, not drugs. And we keep on giving them the drugs. How dare you give a boy the exact same drug that sent his father to jail for 10 years? Black men sell it on the corner, they call it crack. They give it to your son in a bottle, they call it Ritalin. Sell it on the corner, they call it heroin. Give it to your son, they call it Metadine. Sell it on the corner, they call it opium. Give it to your son, they call it Concerta. Are you out of your mind? If drugs are bad, they're bad for everybody. Stop doing chemicals to your son. You see the criteria for ADHD? Is regular childhood behavior. Can't pay attention. Loses things necessary to get his work done. Blurts out answers. Is often on the go. Driven by a motive. That's me every day. Most of us was that. You don't let them. You know what they done, y'all? Because schools are run by females. Yes. Black and white. Because schools are ran by females. In order for a black boy to be successful, he almost has to assume the disposition of a female child. And when you cannot act like a girl because you're a boy, they call you disorder. And so what they have done in America is that they have made being a boy a disease. And that is why we need our own schools. In my school, we're going to have some sisters said, well, Dr. Umar, we open a boys' school. Are you going to have women teachers? Of course. Remember, balance of all things. The school may be for boys, but some of the boys ain't got no mothers. Some of the boys ain't got good relationships with their mother. So they got to have an equal amount of masculine and feminine energy at the school. So ladies, yes, you will be working at FDMG. Just don't be dating my students like they be doing in Chicago. In Detroit public school. In Philly, in Houston, in LA, they do it all over the place. But most of the dating, most of the teacher-student dating ain't even done in the hood. It's done in the suburbs. Because teachers don't get regular psychological evaluation. You're not even required to get a psych eval to get hired. So you get hired your first year. By your 30th year, you crazy as a bedbug. But you never get screened ever again. I'll give you something else. When you get hired as a teacher, you got to put in your criminal abuse record, right? Your child abuse record. Do you realize in most school districts, a teacher is never asked again for an updated criminal or child abuse record? So you can theoretically be a teacher, have molested 20 kids. It can be on your record and keep your job because the school district never checks again after you do. At FDMG, you got to submit one every year. And then I'm going to do my own screening with you. Okay? I also want you to know that if your child is behind academically, your son is behind in reading, your daughter is behind in math, don't put them in special ed. Stop! You know what I want you to do? I want you to find them a tutor. And I want you to hire somebody to come to your house and work with your child 3 days a week, 90 minutes a session. And guess who you can get? You ain't got to get Sylvan Learning Center. And all these expensive white tutoring programs that charge you $30,000 a year for tutoring? What kind of tutoring they doing that's worth $30,000? I'm a school psychologist and I can't even give out $30,000 tutoring. They are using you. I got parents who talk about they taking out mortgages for Sylvan lemons. Are you crazy? All you gotta find, y'all in Chicago, more public schools than most other cities in this country. Find you a retired black teacher. Get grandma. They're retired, they're at home. Some of them looking for a way to give back to the community. They will probably tutor your daughter for free. Bring her on over to my house and I will work with that princess. I have no problem. I was a math specialist. I will do this for you. If you can't find a retired teacher, get you a high school student or college student who is very good at the subject when your child is struggling. College students always looking for a couple of dollars. High school students, all you got to do is give about $20 a week and they'll come and tutor your child. Now keep your eye on them. I'm just saying. And y'all know we got the iPhones and the smartphones, they got these new apps, right? Where if you got security in your house, you can hook up the phone where you can not be in the house and still see everything going on in the house. Okay? Some of y'all need to do that with your spouse. But I'm kidding. But my point is, you can get your child the help they need and hardly spend any money. And let me go a little bit deeper. You can improve a child's academic skill grade, an academic grade level. 1 year in 6 weeks. Your son is on the 3rd grade level, he's in the 6th grade. You know what that means? 6, 12, 18. 18 weeks, which is only 4 months. I can have your son on grade level or better. Tutoring is 50 times better than special ed as an intervention. Stop putting them in special ed and get them a tutor. Because most black children in special ed are only there because they ain't been taught at the previous grade level. So if you know the problem is the fact that they haven't been taught appropriately, get them the appropriate education. And for my homeschool parents, if you're going to homeschool your child, you need to be disciplined at your craft. If you got a high school student homeschool and you don't know that high school algebra, you don't know that calculus and that bio, then you're going to have to reach out and get some resources to help you. Otherwise, you miseducate your child just like the high school student. Just like the high school. And when you homeschool, you got to come up with some decisions. What textbooks are you going to use? What curriculum are you going to follow? Is your homeschool going to be year-round, 12 months? Is it going to be on a 10-month public school year calendar? How many hours a day are you going to homeschool your child? 4, 6, 8, and most important, 2 things. Do you have a curriculum calendar? Because homeschooling parents often mess up because they don't pace themselves with the instruction. Because they say, my child lives with me. I don't need to pace myself because they're with me all the time. Yes, but you got to make sure you master what you're supposed to master. Because I don't care how good your curriculum is, if you're not getting through the curriculum, no matter how good it is, the child ain't learning. Are y'all following me? Yeah. You got to pace yourself. September, what is your child supposed to know? October, what is your child supposed to know? November, what is your child supposed to know? And yes, I agree, you don't need 8 hours a day to homeschool. Remember, half of all school is nothing but village. Gym, art, lunch, recess, computers. Only 4 hours of instruction is really all you need. Okay? But your cell phone needs to be off. If you're giving your child 4 hours, give them 4 hours, not 2.5 with interruptions. Because you're miseducated. And then you need somebody to test your child. Who's going to be the outside assessor? Who comes in and tests your homeschool child to make sure you know what you're doing, to make sure they are learning, to make sure they are on grade level. Okay? I do that kind of work. If you ever need an assessor, I can test your kid and let you know, listen, this is where you're strong at, this is where you're weak at, this is where we need to get better at. But with the Parent Association, the Chicago Independent Black Parent Association, and wherever town you're in, we're going to build one. We're going to train all y'all to assess each other's children. So you ain't got to pay no money. Every parent will be every other parent's successor. And that's the 7th committee, by the way. The homeschool committee, to organize the parents who want to homeschool their children so y'all can work together. One of you is math. One of you is history. One of you is diet and nutrition. One of you is science. One of you is doing African language. One of you is doing survival skills. And I'm doing white supremacy instruction on Sunday. Listen to me. The worst side effect of special ed is being told you can't learn as well as other children. Be very careful before you let somebody put those labels on your children. The labels we use are not scientific, they are social. You cannot prove ADHD. You cannot prove a reading disability. You cannot prove a math disability. When you tell me your child has a disability, you're only telling me the opinion that some white person has about your child's ability to learn. And for a black parent to be taking the opinion of a white person about their child's potential is criminal. Can somebody please tell me why black people take black children to white people to solve their problems? Why do black mothers and fathers take black children to white people to solve their problems? Why are they testing our kids like crazy? And I'm going to wrap it up with this. Why are they testing our kids like this? Everywhere you look, they tested. State tests, national tests. And do you see what they're doing now? Now with the state test, I don't know if this is in Illinois yet, but it's in Pennsylvania. You don't even use, I got the part here? Yeah. That part ain't nothing but a prison test. Preparing black children for prison. And let me tell you what I hate about the part. Most of the part, you got to take it on computer. You don't use pencil and paper. Some people call it technology. I call it a setup for failure. Because not everybody is good at computer-based testing. You're looking at somebody who is not good with computer-based testing. I need a book and a pencil. I need to be looking this way, not up here at no screen with buttons. Are y'all following me? There's too much going on that's distracting my mind from what needs to be processed. So that whole computer-based test model is going to result in a lot more lowered scores for black children. But why are they testing our kids? Because in America, the purpose of testing is to discriminate against black folk, to deny them opportunity while looking scientific.
To change something.
What is the relationship between your child's LSAT score and what is the relationship between an MCAT score and your ability to do well in medical school? What's the relationship between an SAT score and your ability to do well in high school? What was my relationship between my graduate record exam GRE score and my ability to get my doctorate? Do you know the relationship, parents, between the test score and your child's ability is almost a perfect 0? If you don't believe me, go do the research. It's almost a perfect 0. No predictive validity. So why are they still giving these tests? Because the tests are the new Jim Crow signs. The state test, the IQ test, do the same thing Jim Crow laws used to do. The only difference is they use numbers instead of letters. In 1960, no color allowed. 1940, no Negroes. 2015, if you don't have at least a 2400, you can't come in here.
Yes.
If you don't have at least a 3.5, you can't apply here. Do you see what they're doing? All they do is look for the number at which black kids are not likely to achieve. Make that the cutoff. And you keep all the black kids out of the University of Chicago. And when black folks claim racism, all you guys say is, well, it ain't our fault. They didn't score high enough. But who made the score? Who set the standard? The white folks did to deny opportunity to black people. Well, we understand that, Dr. Johnson. But until your school is here and our kids got to struggle in Chicago public schools, what can we do to help them do better on the test? Number one, vocabulary. The weapon is working vocabulary. Many of your children's vocabulary level is 3 grades beneath their class standard. Your daughter is in the 9th, but her working vocab is on the 6th. Your son is in the 5th, but his working vocab is on the 2nd. That's a problem. Because when your son takes the 5th grade state assessment, but his vocab is on the 2nd grade, he can't even understand the questions. He can't even read the items. And guess what? He may have been a perfect A student in math. But because he can't read the questions, he fails on the state test. And now you at home saying to yourself, how does he have an A in school but fail the state test? Because he couldn't understand the words in the questions. Y'all children have to read. They should be reading a book a week on top of what the school asks them to do. Those tasks is the way. We want to give tests at FDMG too. I don't have a problem with testing. I have a problem with the way testing is used. I have a problem with the way they discriminate. I have a problem with the way they don't keep testing in its place to make it the be-all and end-all. Let me tell you how we're going to do our test. Your child is given 10 math questions. He gets them all wrong. I look at those same 10 questions that he got wrong, and I evaluate your son on his process of arriving at the correct answer. Are y'all following me? And guess what I found out? Of those 10 questions that he got wrong, he got them all 80% right. The problem is he made a mistake at the end of the process that arrived at the wrong answer. So instead of failing the test, he should have had a C+. That's the problem with testing, y'all. It's either gray or it's black or white. It doesn't account for the shade. Your child gets a question wrong, but did they get the whole process wrong? Or did they just make a small mistake? But the way testing is set up, even if you made a small mistake but your process was 95% right, you still get a perfect zero. Do y'all see the difference? We're going to grade and shade. So I can tell you, your son got all 10 of the questions wrong if we look at absolute score. But he was 80% accurate. So don't be alarmed. All we got to do is teach him to perfect this step here, and that perfect zero becomes a perfect score. That's the problem with testing in America. There is no credit. I want to close with this last comment on the Atlanta teacher scandal. That's a shame what's happening to the black people. Not to mention that I heard half of them were not even a part or a party to the cheating. They were just present. There's at least one of them who is not accepting the plea deal because they do not want that to be on their record. Because she says she is innocent. And you know what I know? I know they're innocent. Most of them. You know why? First of all, teachers don't go around cheating on their own. You talking to a principal. Teachers ain't worried about that test because they don't lose their job if the kids don't do it. Teaching comes from downtown. Cheating comes from downtown. Are y'all following me? Cheating comes from the superintendent. Cheating comes from the building principal. Now, most teachers in Atlanta are white. Most teachers in America are white. How the hell you got a teaching scandal where everybody who got indicted is black? And then you got black people. I'm talking about, yeah, they should go to jail for the rest of their life. Excuse me. You got grown men called police killing black boys in the street and don't do a day in jail time. But you want to go find some black teacher in Atlanta, lowest person on the totem pole, and say they need to go to jail for the rest of their life for a test that don't make a difference one way or the other because the whole system is designed to fail. In conclusion, I want to say, brothers and sisters, that we got to keep on fighting. It ain't going to get easier. It's going to get tougher. But one thing we know about any breakthrough, spiritual breakthrough, intellectual breakthrough, before the sun rises, you experience your deepest darkness. And so we got to hang in there. Obama is leaving office in another year, even though he was no blessing to us. Because we celebrated him, we have to get ready for the backlash that's going to come when the new president gets in office. Okay? I need y'all to pray more, but work after you pray. Meditate more. Black folk, we do not meditate enough. There's all kinds of meditations. You can do ancestor meditations, most high meditations, health meditations where you imagine your body in perfect health without no issues. Happiness meditations, self-control meditations. There's all types of meditations. And we need to start meditating 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night. Stretch it out to an hour. If you can get to a point where you can meditate for 1 hour without a single thought entering your mind, you are at a point where you can basically tap into God consciousness whenever you feel it. Why is meditating important? Because when you pray, you talk to God. When you pray, you give God all the requests. When you pray, you just unloading all your baggage on God. But meditation is when you shut up for a change and let the universe speak to you. It don't speak with a verbal voice. Well, let me take that back. For some of y'all it will. Because everybody in this audience has a certain power. There's 3 primary powers that we're gifted with. We all come into the world with at least one. Some of you got all 3, some got 2. Clairvoyance. Okay? That's the ability to see things before they happen, usually in your dreams. Your ancestors can talk to you in your dreams, because dream state is the closest to death. And every time you go to sleep, you go back to heaven. And that's when you get your orders. So whenever you dream, you should write it down. Write your dreams down, because it's normally a message. And every dream is a chapter in that message. And if you forgot your dream last month, you can't tie it to the dream you're going to have tonight. Write your dreams down. If you're not dreaming enough, I want you to take a glass of water. A glass of clean, crystal clear water, and sit it next to your bed at night. Water is very spiritual. It can help unblock spiritual blocks if you're not getting your dreams from your ancestors. But you can never use that cup for anything other except the dream state. Same thing for your ancestral altar. The cup that you use to pour water to your dishes. Make sure you respect your living dead. Very important that we do that. Also, this is my absolute last point. ADHD, I'm sorry. So you got clairvoyance, people who see the future in their dreams. Clairsentience, people who can feel that something good or bad is about to happen. Are y'all following me? You ever get this feeling in your gut? Something ain't right with my son. Something ain't right with my mom. Something gonna happen bad today to somebody I know. I can just feel it. You have clairsentience. And you got to meditate to intensify that clairsentience, because we need that in the struggle. We need you to be able to say, Dr. Umar, I know you're scheduled to do a lecture tonight, but you cannot do it. Why not? Because I had a feeling come over my body this morning when I heard you on the radio, and the feeling told me to tell you cannot speak tonight. This is real, y'all. This is real. We've had ancestors who were told not to go to certain places at certain times and did not listen to the spirit. So if you are in tune, then you need to use that. You have a dream about somebody you know, you need to let them know. I had this in a dream. You might want to be careful. Okay? So you got clairvoyance, you can see it. Clairsentience, you can feel it. And then you got clairaudience. People who can hear the voices. Now don't get me wrong. I don't want this gift. I don't think I can handle hearing that. But some of our schizophrenic brothers and sisters are not schizophrenic. They are getting ancestral messages, but they are so scared of the message they get that they get misdiagnosed as schizophrenic. Now, some of y'all got all 3 of them. Some of y'all got 2 of them. But find out which one you got and vibrate and meditate on that energy and bring it forward. Absolute last thing I want to say tonight. In African spirituality, every year there's a reading that is done, a divination to the Most High, to determine which deities are going to rule the universe for that upcoming year. Well, when the reading was done in Ile-Ife, Nigeria, for this year, the Babalawo revealed that the 2 divinities that will rule 2015 are the divinities known as Shango and the divinities known as Oya. And I'm bringing this out because Shango is a warrior masculine energy. Oya is a warrior feminine energy. Shango is the masculine principle of reproduction, of leadership, of organization, of empire, of building, of confidence. Oya is also a warrior energy. She travels with the ancestors, which is no coincidence, because this year is 150 years since slavery. So it only makes sense that Oya would be involved in ruling this year, because the ancestors are coming back from the Arun this year. This is the year they come back to help us right here. And if you're Christian or you're Muslim, if you read in your holy book, you will see it talks about spirit coming to fight with man. That's ancestral power. Oya is also the energy of the marketplace. She blesses businesses. Shango also deals with business. That means if you were thinking about starting a business, this is the time to do it. If you were thinking about building your ancestral altar, tapping into your living unseen, this is the year to do it. If you were thinking about joining an organization or starting an organization, that Shango energy, this is the year to do it. But what I like most about it is you don't have two females ruling, and you don't have two males ruling. You got a warrior king and a warrior queen ruling this. That means it's time for a black man and a black woman to look each other in the eye and say, listen, you've done some things to me in the past I didn't like. But we in this together. So I'm going to forgive you and you're going to forgive me and we're going to back it side by side and go out together. If that's the way we got to go outside. The time when you pay and you deal the black family. And because it is Shango and Oya, that means there's going to be a lot of catastrophe this year. There's going to be disaster. There's going to be death. Not in a scary sense. Don't get afraid. It means that righteousness is coming to the world to wash away wickedness. So justice can be restored to the world. Now some of you say that sound like some voodoo up here. But what about the fact your son is at home right now watching Thor? And Thor is nothing but an African deity stolen and Christian. Thor is the European comic hero who travels with the thunder. Shango travels with the thunder. Thor wears red and gold outfits.
Yes, sir.
Shango wears red and gold outfits. Thor carries a double-headed hammer. Shango carries a double-headed axe. You don't mind your son worshiping Thor, but you got a problem with him knowing the real Thor, Shango. And then we look at Holly Berry Storm. The female energy that brings the typhoon and the hurricane and the tornado. That's Oya. She brings the natural disasters that washes away the doers of the wicked. You don't mind your daughter feasting on Holly Berry Storm, but you never teach her about that woman of 9 colors, Oya, who rides with the ancestors. Oya, we say, is your first breath. When you come into this world, you breathe. She is the wind. She is the oxygen. And when you leave this earth, you exhale. And Oya is what you live in. And then there's Wolverine, the most popular of them all. A European by the name of Logan. But if you take the L off of Logan, you get Ogan. Change the A to U, you get Ogan. The thing of war, of commitment, of courage. When Wolverine gets mad, he grows 3 machetes on each hand. Shango wields 3 machetes in his hand. The white man has taken your whole spiritual system and turned it into Marvel Comics and made you love it, but you don't want to come on home to the original spirituality of your ancestors. In conclusion, I want to say that when I'm done here, because it's so crowded here, we don't have room for a line. I'm going to go outside to the front of the church, and that's where I will sign books and take pictures. If you haven't had a chance to get my book, Psychoacademic Holocaust, the merchandise table is in that corner. There's some DVDs there, t-shirts, books, whatever you like. Buy something to show support, because I got to put up some money for the Black Boy College tour. We got to put up funds for the school itself and other things that I'm working on, the magazine and so forth and so on. So please buy something if you can. If you need to use a credit card, we can take a credit card as well. I want to leave you with a quote from my ancestor, Frederick Douglass, who said, "If there is no struggle, there is no progress. Those who profess to favor freedom and deprecate agitation are like men who want crops without plowing up the ground. They want the rain but can't stand the thunder or the lightning. They want the ocean but they're scared of the awful roar of its water." He said the struggle we have might be moral, or it might be physical, or it might be both moral and physical, but it must be a struggle. He said, for 20 years, I prayed on my knees to God for freedom. But the good Lord gave Frederick no freedom until I got up off my knees and prayed with my feet. He said, if you want respect, stop looking for pity. The man who pities you will never respect you. And a man who respects you has no need for pity. Because man may not care everything he works for in this world, but you must certainly work for everything that you can. He said, but most of all, you remember that power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did and it never will. I want to call on my ancestors who walked in that front door with me today. Grandfather Belly, Grandma Selah, Grandma Jenny, Grandma Bessie, Grandpa Isaac, Grandma Young Betsy, who was so deep into slavery into Mississippi, snatched from her son, my great-great-great-grandfather Stephen Henry Belly, the brother of Frederick Douglass. I want to call on his wife, my great-great-great-grandma born into slavery, Grandma Caroline Wilson Belly, their firstborn son, my great-great-great-grandfather George Washington Belly, the nephew of Frederick Douglass and the first black public school teacher in Talbot County, Maryland. I want to call on Frederick Douglass and his wife Anna Murray Douglass, and their children Lewis and Charles and Rosetta and Fred Jr. I want to call on my great-great-great-great-grand-uncle Alexander Wayman of the African Methodist Episcopal Church. I want to call on Grandma Caroline, Grandma Vivian, Grandpa Cicero from Cuba. I want to call on my uncle Clifford, who was murdered at the age of 18. I want to call on my grandpa James Johnson, who I met not too long before he passed. I want to call on great-great-grandma Gertrude, great-great-grandpa Charlie, great-grandma Curly, great-grandpa Robert, great-great-grandpa Robert, great-great-grandma Emma, great-great-grandma Delia, great-great-grandpa Isaac, great-grandma Eileen, great-grandpa William Thomas Tillman, Uncle Billy Jr. I want to call on my Uncle Eric, my cousin Nancy. I want to call on Dr. Leonis King, the black man who was on my doctoral committee, who taught me how to drive, who served as advisor to the Black Student Union. And right before he died, he sat on my committee and got me over the hump for my doctorate. That man didn't leave this earth until I got my paperwork. Rest in peace. I want to call him the original black man, Dave Cameron. I want to call him my big brother, Clifford Howard. I want to call on the ancestors who came to me the last week of July 2005 when I was in Goree Island. I'm going to call on the ancestors of Elmina Cave Slave Dungeon where we was at last summer. And I'm going to call on the ancestors of Elmina Slave Dungeon and the ancestors of Slave Grill. I'm going to call on the ones in the largest grave grill in the world, the Atlantic Ocean. I'm going to call on all of your ancestors here. The ones from your mama's mama and your mama's daddy. The ones from your daddy's mama and your daddy's daddy. All four of your rows, may they meet in your heart. I ask that all the ancestors come and take our prayers to the Most High God. Guaranteed that this year, 2015, will be the year of African redemption. Brothers and sisters, I thank you. I say.
Another great video from Dr. Umar Ifatunde is always spitting facts. And I always say he has a lot of enemies and he has a lot of lovers. And I know those who love him surpassed those who hate him. And that is why he's always trying to spit the truth. Because the only truth is what will set us free. Black people, we don't need sugarcoat messages. We need to be told the fact because the manner we have been indoctrinated, we need people to tell us the hard truth. And where I come from, which is Africa, Ghana, the truth has been massaged and we still live within the, how should I put it, within the system of lies. We still think without Western countries or without white man, a black man cannot achieve anything. We have been lied to, and a lot of people has taken this particular message and they are running to it. And what the sad aspect is, the youth of my country don't believe in themselves. Many think the only way for them to make it in life is what? To travel to a white man's land, to go and clean their toilets, to go and take care of their old people. That's the only way for them to survive. You can see a professional a doctor, an engineer who would travel all the way to Europe to go and do a manual job. And this is why we need liberation mindset. This is why I keep on sharing these messages so that we can be strong in our mind. We need to enlighten, we need to educate ourselves. That's why I keep on sharing all these individuals who are preaching the message of black empowerment. Please, if you want more of these videos, then don't forget to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification button so that anytime I upload any great content, you will be notified. I'm always your guy, Digraft Amuakon, and thanks for watching.